Very good afternoon. What are you streaming? I'm late by a few minutes. Yeah, good afternoon. Sachin, Aditya, I hope you are doing well. And class attendance is gradually increasing, meaning हमसे भी लेट लोग हैं. मेरा तो 2-3 मिनट का. Okay. I will fetch water for myself. लॉक कर देना. Okay. Sharma ji has come. Still more people joining. Chalo, let's begin. And we have today, this is a fourth class on oceanography, but in continuation with the initial two classes which were on general orientation. So we have, this is the seventh class. Right. Topic of the day, again, ocean currents. And I hope, tell me how many of you actually read the how many of you actually read the Ekman's spiral law? Any problem with Ekman's spiral law? Respond quickly. This will be doubt clearing session in case you have any doubts about the concepts which we did in our last class on Ekman's spiral law or Ekman pumping or the cold of Welling zone. I think diagram was pretty clear, and they might have gone on to search on internet. So you might have found some more points, some better diagrams. Okay. No problem, sir. Great. That is actually good news. No problem, sir. Okay. Now, after Ekman's spiral law, the factors originating ocean currents. So we talked about the subaerial factors, and then suboceanic factors, and then the modifying factors. So all these factors were discussed, right? Now, coming to the currents of Atlantic Ocean, right? So we'll make a case study of the currents of Atlantic Ocean and currents of Atlantic. क्या आ गया ये? Currents of Atlantic. Currents of Atlantic में पहले explanation, what we are going to do is we will take a case study of Atlantic. We'll draw the diagram, the schematic map of Atlantic Ocean, and I will keep it wider than the reality, so that you could see easily the ocean currents and we could name them. We could fix the latitudes of their formation and their existence. So a wide map is required. The oceanic part has to be overexposed and magnified. So here is the map for you. Let me push it on the top. अरे यार, ये टेक्नोलॉजी का ना मजा भी है और बड़ा पनिशमेंट भी है. So what I do when I draw, I first so this is our equatorial belt, this is our Africa, and say this is our this is Atlantic, and I have deliberately kept all this spacing here so that you can, this is Iceland, this is your Ireland, UK, Norway, North Sea. All right. This is your 0-degree equator. Now, a full-fledged explanation on the origin and distribution of ocean current with reasoned account. Fine. So please write a question first. The question which was asked, which was demanded in UPSC, and it is a very popular question of PCS examinations, very often asked. Please write the question. Question is, provide a reasoned account of a spatial pattern of ocean currents ocean currents in the in the Atlantic Ocean. In the Atlantic Ocean. And our second question will be, how the monsoon climate or the monsoon phenomena influences the spatial pattern of ocean currents in the Indian Ocean. And third question will be, present a general circulation pattern of ocean currents in the Pacific Ocean. In the Indian Ocean. Sorry, I'm having some cough and little fever. This is not corona, I hope. इस पे बहुत डीप स्टडी करते हैं, साइंटिफिकली पढ़ते हैं, अप्लाई करते हैं. कल जो हमने सीखा उसको अप्लाई करते हैं. Let's apply all the factors which we learned in our previous class. So here I go. Tell me, here you have the trade winds. This is your northeasterly trade. This is your southeasterly trade. Now, prevailing winds or the global winds or the planetary winds are the primary source of ocean current. And the major ocean currents are actually driven in the direction of the winds, of the prevailing winds. So these trade winds will drive the coastal water towards South America from the Guinea coast. So from the Guinea coast of Africa, the trades are driving these winds, these currents, roughly along 10 degree. This will be roughly 10 degree north, and this will be around 7 to 8 degrees south. Always remember that any phenomena will have more poleward, little 2 or 3 degree extension, poleward extension in the northern hemisphere. Okay. So you have the northeasterly trades driving the coastal water. The warm water is being driven. So we have generation of two currents almost parallel to the equator. Now why they are parallel to the equator? Despite the fact that this is the wind direction, the northeasterly trades are in this fashion. But you remember from Ekman's spiral law that the currents will deviate at 45 degree angle. So this theta angle is 45. So rightward deflection, 45 degree angle deflection, and this is how you have. Now here you have these currents, and this is the leftward deflection. This theta angle is also roughly 45. Now I tell you, this 45 cannot be fixed, but it has been grossly generalized by Ekman. Now 45 is always questionable. It could be 40, it could be 30, it could be 50 also. But 45 is a very general term which has been used by Ekman. Now please learn, this is something very special and very extra you are learning today. The application of the Ekman's spiral law, the books and the internet all are silent on it. Maybe once these classes are leaked out, then this also will come out. And this is how the northeasterly trades and the southeasterly trades are converging, and look at the 45-degree deviation of the currents. Now these two currents will be named. This is called North Atlantic Equatorial Current and South Atlantic Equatorial Current. Okay. तो आंसर राइटिंग में जाना होगा हम लोगों को, और हाउ वुड यू राइट नाउ? सो लेट्स discuss one by one and keep writing also one by one. So in this first discussion point, we are talking about the equatorial currents, and we have generation of two currents here, north equatorial and south equatorial. We have shown the latitudes, and we are also showing the application of Ekman's spiral law. And the cause of these currents are the trade winds which are driving the coastal water from the Guinea coast towards South America. I hope you will be able to write on these ocean currents. Now look here, as the water accumulates in this region, the bulge of, this is the bulge of South America or Brazil. This is called Cape Sao Rock. This is Cape Sao Rock. This point is Cape Sao Rock. So let's talk about the South Equatorial Current. So all these two currents will compile here. Pilation of water is taking place along Cape Sao Rock, and the sea level will rise. If you see in this diagram, there is a simple diagram being drawn to explain this phenomena. This is your equator. These are the trades. So this is your North Equatorial. This is your South Equatorial. And at here, there is a pilation of water. This is how the sea level will be. There is a pilation of water. So the piled up water returns back. So here, this will be called counter equatorial. So here you have pilation of air. Now the piled up water returns back. This is called counter equatorial current. So we have three currents. We have three currents in the equatorial region, and I want to give you more than your books, etc. So say this is your 0-degree equator, this is the trade, and as I said, this is your North Equatorial Current. This diagram will be valid in all the oceans and all the discussions on ocean current. This is your the South Easterly trades, and this is your South Equatorial Current. Now here you will have pilation of water. So as I said, this will be the sea level. This is the sea level now. This is the sea level, the actual sea level. And as the pilation has taken place, the water must return back. And this returning current will be called counter equatorial current. Now some water will return back as counter equatorial current, but some water is going to sink here. And these regions will be marked by the downwelling. So these regions are marked by downwelling zone. Near Brazil, you have the downwelling zone. So you have the surface currents returning back to Guinea, and then you have, this is your Guinea, the Guinea coast of Africa, and this is your Brazilian coast, Sao Rock, the Sao Rock, Brazilian coast. So here you have downwelling. Now as the downwelling is taking place, the currents are also returning back from this downwelling zone. The depth could be roughly 500 meters, and this is the returning current. Maximum depth will be 500 meters, and this is the returning current. So there is one returning current at the top, which is counter equatorial current, and there is another returning current at greater depth, like 500 meters to 1000 meters. 600 fathom भी इसको लिया जाता है कई बार कि at 600 fathoms there will be returning current. Now this is called undercurrent. So this is your undercurrent. Now in Pacific, if this diagram is taken for Pacific, this will be called Cromwell because Cromwell discovered it. And if it is Atlantic, if we are taking the case of Atlantic, so it will be called Lemonovsk current. And as the current returns back, obviously it has to move up. It is all moving up. These currents are moving up from below. And here also near 20 degree north roughly and 20 or 15 degree or 18 degree south, we have the upwelling zone. We have the upwelling zone. So these two are example of upwellings, cold upwelling zone. Draw this diagram and let me know whether you understood or not. Just let me know that this diagram is clear to you or not. This is about equatorial circulation. If you want to make a title for it, it will be titled equatorial equatorial current. So how many equatorial currents are there? We can just think of it in the next. How many equatorial currents are there? 1 north equatorial, south equatorial, counter current, and under current, and you can have sub currents also. अंडर करंट और सब करंट थोड़ा सा डिफरेंस है. सब करंट का the size of sub currents are small and they are found at shallow depth, not great depth. Under currents will be at greater depth. Under currents will be at greater depth. The depth will be roughly 600 fathoms. And subcurrents will be in the shallow zone, 200 meters, 100 fathom or so. This could be, 1000 meters. This is the description of equatorial current. Please let me know. One more time, please. इसको नोट करो. If there is a question on equatorial current, we have number 1, north equatorial, south equatorial, counter current or counter equatorial current, then undercurrent and subcurrents. There is complete diagnosis of ocean currents in the equatorial belt. I am not leaving even one stone unturned. Okay? We'll come back to this page again. I would like you to see this diagram again and let me ask you a few questions. Lemonovsk current क्या होता है बताओ? What are Lemonovsk currents? Lemonovsk, name of the scientist who discovered the undercurrent in Atlantic Ocean. while in Pacific it is called Cromwell current. This is the description. This is the diagram. You want to ask anything? Go ahead. Waiting for your questions, and if you're all right with the concepts, please write Y. ओके श्रीवास्तव जी ने वाई लिखा. वन मोर टाइम, नो मोर टाइम, इट इज बेटर. ओके आदित्य, वाई, गुड. No more time, because I think it is very clear through the diagram, through all these descriptions. Now let's go to our initial page. Now dekho, learn. So you have to create a beautiful paragraph on the equatorial currents of Atlantic, okay, and then write with causative factors. How it shall be written? मैं एक पैराग्राफ डिक्टेट करवा देता हूं. लिखो इक्वेटोरियल करेंट्स ऑफ अटलांटिक. लिखो द ट्रेड विंड्स प्रोड्यूस फ्रिक्शनल ड्रैग. The trade winds produce frictional drag as they are offshore along the coast of Africa, along the Guinea coast. These winds have higher velocity and permanency as they travel from the hot deserts. As they travel from the hot deserts, Next, along 10° north and 8° south, equatorial currents are generated which flow parallel to the equator, because according to Ekman's law, these currents are deviated at 45° angle from the wind direction. Right. These equatorial currents confluence near the coast of Brazil, where due to pilation of water, sea level rises and a gentle gradient is produced from west to east, along which the counter equatorial currents are produced roughly parallel to 2 to 5° north, roughly parallel to 2° north or 2 to 5° north, as part of compensatory flow. Along Brazil, downwelling of warm water takes place due to regular pilation by the currents. The downwelling water at the depth of 500 to 1000 meters moves as undercurrent, towards the Guinea coast of Africa. These undercurrents are called Langmuir's current, these undercurrents are called Langmuir's currents, which produce the or superimpose the, दोनों लिखना है, which produce the, either they produce or superimpose, which either produce or superimpose the cold upwelling zone in the along the Western African coast. This cold upwelling zone is also associated with the Ekman's pumping, where left of the wind direction, the deep cold waters are vertically rising against the surfacial and horizontal loss of water. ओके, ये है इक्वेटोरियल करंट. Their latitudes, their origin, the downwelling, the cold upwelling, everything written in a very crisp form. And I think this diagram will be required. This diagram will be required. And marks shall be pouring out for you. जहां से सी लेवल राइज है वहां पे डाउन वेलिंग कैसे होगा? देखो, अब इसको मैं डिस्टोर करता हूं. यहां से ये करंट आ रहा है, तो करंट आने के बाद हाफ द वाटर विल रिटर्न एंड द हाफ द वाटर विल गो डाउन. इफ यू पोर द वाटर और हिट द वाटर टू ए वॉल, से दिस इज द वॉल, द ब्राजीलियन शील्ड. So when you push the water against the wall, the half will return with the upper surface and half has to go down. So because of pilation of the water, there will be downwelling also and returning water also. Okay. Now, come here again. कितना लोग इक्वेटोरियल करंट का फॉर्मेशन कॉज एकमैन स्पायरल लॉ से रिलेट करके समझ रहा है और डाउन वेलिंग और अप वेलिंग को भी समझ रहा है. So if you see here, I have told you that towards the left of the wind direction, this is the wind direction. This is the wind direction. Now left of it, meaning in this zone, you will have cold upwelling. यहां से लेफ्ट और इसके साउदर्न हेमिस्फीयर में towards the right you will have cold upwelling. So this cold upwelling is also because of Ekman pumping and also because of the compensation from below. Compensation from below as the water is being driven, surface water is being driven by the by the trades. So there has to be upwelling in this area. So we have upwelling zones. Now these cold upwelling zones are produced by which all factors? Please write. Write in a box, separate box. कोई अलग से एक inset बना लो और लिखो cold upwelling zone. What are cold upwelling zone? How they are produced? How they are significant? How they influence the climate? So please write cold upwelling zone. A short note on cold upwelling zone is very much likely to be asked. Okay? So please write. Cold upwelling zones are found. Cold upwelling zones are found along the western coast of the continent, in the tropical, subtropical regions, in the trade wind belt, Next point. Trade winds नहीं, offshore trade winds drive the coastal water allowing the deep waters to vertically move as part of compensation for the surface loss of water. As part of compensation for the surface loss of water. Okay, then अगला पैराग्राफ, नेक्स्ट पैराग्राफ. According to Ekman pumping, Ekman pumping, and Ekman's spiral law, the cold upwelling zones are produced. Towards left of the wind direction in northern hemisphere, and towards right in the southern hemisphere. Thirdly go the subcurrents or the undercurrents, namely Cromwell in Pacific and Lemonwolsk in Atlantic. Cromwell in Pacific, Lemonwolsk in Atlantic. Reinforce the cold upwelling zone. Next लिखो effect on climate etc. Effect on climate. लिखो cold upwelling zones are associated with hot tropical deserts, meaning wherever you have hot tropical deserts, you will have cold upwelling zone. Why these hot tropical deserts are created? Because the trade winds are offshore. So cold upwelling zones are associated with the hot tropical deserts. In fact, they help in, they produce desiccating effect or drying effect. In fact, they produce desiccating effect or the drying effect. Second point, लिखो, these cold upwelling zones are also associated with the superimposition of the cold currents, which are found along the western coast of the continents. Next, cold upwelling zones are most important fishing grounds of the world. Most important fishing grounds of the world because A, it moderates the temperature and salinity. Cold upwelling say it moderates the temperature conditions and the salinity conditions. B, it brings nutrients from below. Nutrients भी आता है cold upwelling zone में. Then C, due to the cold waters, the diatoms can thrive. Which are called green pasture for the aquatic lives. Marine aquatic lives का green pasture होता है ये. Diatoms are phytoplanktons. Okay, then you can draw a world map and you can show the what? You can draw that Ekman's pumping diagram. So two diagrams you can draw. One will be the Ekman's pumping diagram and second will be showing the world map and showing the tropical western coastal areas and also showing the cold of Whaling zones there. Now this becomes a law that wherever you have western coast, tropical region, tropical deserts, away from the coast you will have the cold of Whaling zone in the trade wind belt. So remember these laws. If it is applicable in case of African coast, it shall be equally applicable in North America, in South America, in what? In Australia. Okay. Geographical law is a law. Fine. So this was all about the equatorial belt and the cold upwelling zone, the application of Ekman's spiral law. Any variety of question asked on the subcurrent or the undercurrent or the equatorial current or the counter current or the upwelling zone, wind and its association with current formation, everywhere it is applicable. You will have to be really a smart learner in the sense that a teacher will teach you everything, but the questions could be asked even from the one single term I uttered in my class. Even that could fetch a question. And if such questions are asked, then you don't be in a loss like what to write, what not to write. Simply, you present the entire description of the class, which are all interrelated with that. Okay? Don't be in a fix कि मैं करूं क्या अब ये पूछ दिया है, कोल्ड अपवेलिंग पूछ दिया, पता नहीं क्या करना है, फिशिंग एंड कोल्ड अपवेलिंग पूछ दिया, पता नहीं क्या करना है. अरे सब में एक मैन, सब में पंपिंग, सब में ट्रेड विंड, सब में डेजर्ट से कनेक्शन, ये पूरा इस्टेब्लिश करो ना, अपने आप आंसर बन जाता है. ओके, फाइन. Now, here you have the Caribbean islands. There are number of Caribbean islands, but what I'm doing, I'm just showing you one huge island instead of showing number of islands and the small channels running through them. In a schematic diagram, I will just put one big island. This is your Caribbean. Now, North Atlantic will hit the Caribbean island as it moves. It is bifurcated in two channels now. It is bifurcated in two channels. Okay. So, look at these two channels. This is one and this is your another. So, we have two currents. Let's name them A and B. So, A is the Antilles, or you call it Antilles, and B is the Keynes current, you call it Kenny. I have no issues, whatever you call, double N-E. Kenny is the capital of French Guiana, you call it Guyana, that's okay. So this Kenny is the capital of French Guiana. These are our West Indian islands, Caribbeans. So we have current A, that is Antilles. Caribbean's old name was Antilles. Old name of Caribbean was Antilles, Greater Antilles, Lesser Antilles. So the ancient Spanish people, they named it after in their own language. They called it Antilles. Okay, so we have these two currents. Now these two currents will meet near Cape Kennedy. This particular point is Cape Kennedy. So from Cape Kennedy to Diagram needs little curvature here. ऐसे कुछ करना चाहिए. So from Cape Kennedy to this point, this Cape Hatteras. Cape Hatteras, when the two currents join, it becomes current number 3, C, and that's your Florida current. This is your Florida current. What is Florida current? So A, B, C, concentrate, learn. What is the role of Caribbean? What is the role of coastal configuration? Now here you have which river? This is your Mississippi, Missouri river. So Mississippi, Missouri river also puts lot of water. Mississippi, Missouri का जो ये पूरा chain है ना, इससे भी superimposition of water होता है. That drives the Cairns current away from the through the Yucatan channel. Here we have Yucatan channel. So this is your Cairns, this is your Antilles, both will converge and form another current called Florida. This is your Florida, showing it in color. Red करके देखूं. Okay. So this is your Florida current. And after Cape Hatteras to 55 degree, if I take this 55 degree north, and if I take this 55 degree east, so 55 degree north to 55 degree east, जहां पर भी 55 degree meridional or the longitude and the 55 degree north latitude is crossing each other. So from Cape Hatteras to this region, this current will be called what? The Gulf Stream. So this is your Gulf Stream. D is Gulf Stream. This is your Gulf Stream. Gulf Stream has been described in different color. Red color में मैंने दिखा दिया. So here you have the Antilles, the Cairns, the Florida, and now the Gulf Stream. And since this region will have influence of which wind? Westerlies. Here you have the westerlies. The westerlies are driving. So these currents are now moving towards UK, and this is how it will be deviated. This is how these currents will keep moving, and one will turn into this position. So this current in the open ocean will be called North Atlantic Drift. It will be called North Atlantic Drift. Now North Atlantic Drift, as we see from here, the North Atlantic Drift जो ये जा रहा है, so North Atlantic Drift will hit the British Isles. This is the British Isles, and it is trifurcated, not bifurcated, trifurcated into 1, 2, and 3 currents. One is the Rennell current. This is called Rennell. This is Rennell current, and this bay is actually called Bay of Biscay. Bay of Biscay. So in the French Bay of Biscay, it will be called Rennell current, and as it goes here, this is called Norwegian current. Rightly so, because mostly it is moving along the coast of Norway, so it is called Norwegian current. This Norwegian current will enter the White Sea. This is your White Sea, Shwet Sagar. Lord Vishnu is here. This is your. Now here you have a port. This port is very important. Murmansk. This is the Murmansk port, which remains ice-free throughout the year because of the Norwegian currents. Because Norwegian currents will have higher salinity and warmer water. So ice is not frozen along the Kola Peninsula, on which Murmansk is located. Murmansk is a port of Russia which is located on the Kola Peninsula. This region, Kola Peninsula and Kaliningrad, were once part of the great German Empire, but somehow it went to Russia, the European conspiracy. So we have Norwegian current, we have Murmansk as a port, White Sea. So these are one, Rhenal current, second is the Norwegian, now third is called Irminger. Irminger current. This is your Iceland. One branch will hit the Iceland and turns back. Now this turning current is Irminger current, and Irminger current in GC Leong, please mark, please remember, please concentrate that in GC Leong, Irminger current is being shown as the East Greenland current. But that is not true. I will show you that what exactly it is. Here we have the East Greenland current. I am using green color. This is the East Greenland current. And this is the West Greenland current. And this is the Labrador current. This L is Labrador. This is West Greenland. And this is East Greenland current. And this is your Irminger current along the coast of Iceland. So all these currents are basically what? These currents are cold currents. Any current coming from polar direction is a cold current. These are all cold current. Labrador is also a cold current. So these three currents, Eastern Greenland, Western Greenland and Labrador, all three are conversing with our Gulf Stream. So this Gulf Stream से mixing हो रहा है यहाँ पे cold water का, and this entire region which will be, I will put it in a different color, yellow color में डालते हैं इसको, देखते हैं. So this entire region will have mixing of the cold and warm waters, okay, and some warm cold water will enter this zone also, south of 55 degree north. So this entire zone will become a fishing belt. I will talk about these fishing belts where the cold current, the Labrador cold current and the Gulf streams are meeting. This makes a Langmuir circulation. I will talk about Langmuir circulation in a while. Just now, wait for a while, I will talk about it. Here is a question. It is 55 degree east or 55 degree west? Arey yaar, it is 55 degree west. Sorry, it has to be 55 degree west. I am really sorry. Good to point out. Good. Oh, this will be 55 degree west. 55 degree west hoga, obviously. And this part is having the fishing belt. And this circulation where the mixing is taking place will be called Langmuir circulation. Langmuir circulation. Langmuir. This is called Langmuir circulation, the fishing belt. And here also, in this zone, when you have the warm water and meeting with this part is also, there is no current as such, but this is cold water meeting with the warm water. This region is also very famous for fishing. So fishing is abundant in this entire area. Look at the fishing belt of Europe, the fishing belts of North America, and try to appreciate the causes behind the high production of or the commercial fishing of varieties like cod, herring, tuna, haddock, halibut. So we have two big fishing pockets in North Atlantic. Reason is what? The mixing of warm current and the cold current. Now I hope you are getting everything and you are not troubled. Now what? Let me take again green color because I am using green color for cold current. Now think of the Coriolis. So Coriolis is operating on all these currents, no? So when Coriolis operate towards the water flow will be deflected towards right always. So when it is being deflected rightward always, this is how the circulatory pattern will become. And this is your Sargasso Sea. This is your Sargasso Sea. This is your Sargasso Sea. Because of this clockwise circulation of water, the central part will become roughly stagnant. Isothermic conditions are there in Sargasso Sea. We'll talk about it later on also. Now this is the returning current. So as the current is returning, this current is going to mix with again or superimpose again the north equatorial current. But this current is very mysterious and little controversial because this current is called canary current. We can also show these returning waters with lines. These are the returning waters with line. This is canary current. C-A-N-A-R-Y. Canary current. Now this canary current will have dualistic behavior, right? Canary currents will have dualistic behavior during the summer time, garmi mein, and winter time. They don't remain the same because during the summer time, the returning water will become warmer. So returning water is warmer. So it will, during the summer time, canary current will become cold current. Summertime, canary current will become cold current because the oceanic water is much warmer during summer. So the current which is coming from the top, from the polar region, roughly polar direction, will have relatively lesser temperature. So during summer, the canary currents are, or rather they will appear to be cold current. But during winters, the canary current becomes warm current because winters may the surrounding waters will lose their temperature and the returning water has relatively higher temperature. Okay, so this becomes, so canaries have dual properties or seasonal variations in their properties, in their character. Now there is one small current which also must be pointed out because otherwise this discussion will not be complete. So I am using, okay, these are the currents are now here, because there is a loss of water from this region, south equatorial current के पास से there is a lot of loss of water. So because of the loss of water, there will be a compensatory current moving into it, and this is called the Guinea current. It's a very small current, warm current, and it originates due to for the sake of compensation or due to the loss of water from the Guinea coast. So it gradually moves into it. It's a warm current. It's the equatorial water which is moving there. Now, because there is a warm current here, so this region, Guinea coast, can have tornadoes, can have tropical cyclones. It is an exception to the rule. Exception because tornadoes or the cyclones, tropical cyclones are generally produced, they generally originate in the tropical ocean towards the eastern margin of the continents. But here the tropical cyclones can originate in the western margins of the continent as well. because the current is not cold in this zone. The water is not cold. There is a presence of Guinea current, which is a warm current. This information shall be very vital for your understanding. So Guinea current and the role of Guinea current. The Guinea current's another role is that it increases the moisture along the Guinea coast, and the sea winds or the sea breezes which enters the Guinea coast will increase the moisture. A lot of moisture will be increased, and suffocation will be caused in these regions. So Guinea current is responsible for suffocating highly moist environment, hot and humid environment along the Guinea coast. And these areas along Guinea will have rainforest type climate. So much moisture and so much rain is caused by the Guinea current. You must be knowing that from Sahara some winds will come. Harmattan, that is called, the dry Sahara wind sometime enters this zone, and they remove that moisture, and suffocation is partly removed from that region. So the Harmattan is also called, coming from Sahara desert, Harmattan is also called the doctor wind, because it gives a sigh of relief to the people of Guinea, and the climate becomes salubrious for those hours or those days when the Harmattan is blowing in this region. But otherwise this region, because of the Guinea current, will have very high moisture and very high temperature conditions and high rainfall conditions. And as I told you, that Guinea current are warm current, so in this region you can have formation of the tropical cyclones, the tornadoes as well, or hurricanes as well. Okay, so this was all about the north equatorial currents. I'm giving you some 30 seconds, maybe 30-40 seconds to draw the entire map, and draw it very peacefully. Take 1 minute maybe. I will take my small break. And you can ask questions also. You can ask questions, put forward your questions. I will be on computers to respond. Gurjot Singh, yeah, you are very alert. You rightly pointed out that it will be 55° west. I agreed. I think a lot of geography is being poured today. A lot of things we will learn today. This is how geography gradually opens up. We all started with zoning of the ocean, and then primary division of the ocean bottom. It was going so smooth and so lethargic, it seemed in the beginning. It's getting fiery with time. Irvinger current, if you read G.C. Leong, is wrongly presented. Is wrongly presented there. Irvinger is the current which is moving southeast of Iceland. Chandra ji, kuch likhiye. Yeah, all of you are busy drawing diagrams. It is showing full attendance. महमूद लिख रहे हैं, यस सर, आई सी ईस्ट साइड टू, आई सी ईस्ट साइड गो. हाँ, लिखा है कि यस सर, मैंने देखा. GC Leong में it is wrongly given. Remember the rule that don't try to correct me. I can do some mistakes like writing east or west, but all these conceptual things are the very likely to be missed out. I'm very unlikely that I will miss out anything. Now we can think of the southern Atlantic Ocean. And then we will discuss the ocean currents and their influence on the coastal climate. That's another agenda for today's class. Cold of Welling zone, then desert formation, Ekman's pumping and spiral laws, then distribution of all these currents, their naming, their location, the fishing belts, North Atlantic drift. Here comes a question. North Atlantic drift diverges into 3 branches or Gulf Stream. No dear. We call it Gulf Stream between Cape Hatteras to the intersecting point by 55° west longitude and 55° north latitude. I mean, so clearly stated. Gulf Stream after 55° west longitude, Gulf Stream will be named as North Atlantic Drift. Why it is called drift? It is called drift because the volume will be much higher, much greater, and the volume is much greater and the velocity will be greatly reduced, because if you increase the mass, the volume, the velocity will be less. And also the presence of mid-Atlantic ridge here. So mid-Atlantic ridge will also thwart the velocity of the currents. It also obstructs. So we have North Atlantic drift. In Pacific Ocean, however, you will find that we have North Pacific current. We don't have North Pacific drift because Pacific doesn't have mid-Atlantic ridge, which will reduce the velocity or obstruct the flow of the current. Okay, now coming to the Southern Atlantic, and look, we have this Cape Sauroch here. So this South Atlantic equatorial current will hit Cape Sauroch, and one of the bifurcations will superimpose the Keynes current, and the other one which is reaching in this zone will be called the Eastern Brazilian current. This is your Eastern Brazilian current. Check out. South equatorial current. It will hit the Cape Sauroch and then bifurcated. The northern part will superimpose Keynes current and southern part is called East Brazilian current. Now here it meets the Falkland current. I should change the color. Again, green. It meets the Falkland current. And this zone where the Brazilian current and Falkland currents are meeting, this is your Falkland. Falkland is a group of islands in this place, है ना? Tierra del Fuego से east. और Falkland was a colony of Britain, Great Britain. British power का था. Now it has been leased out to United States America. So you have here Falkland current in this zone, and again the fishing belt. This also will be the fishing belt because Falkland is cold current and Brazilian is warm current. So meeting of warm current and cold current will produce the fishing belt here. And now how this Falkland current is generated? Actually from Roche ice shelf, the icebergs are breaking. The huge icebergs are breaking. Ross ice shelves are the largest ice shelf in Antarctica, rather of the globe, world. Now the breaking icebergs, Ross ऐसे है ROSS. So you have breaking icebergs, and these icebergs will melt, and the melting of the icebergs produce the Falkland current. So origin of Falkland current is ordained to the melting of the icebergs which are breaking down from the Ross continental shelf area, Ross ice shelf area. Okay, so Falkland, and here you have again the fishing ground. Now this part is having the what? This part is having the westerlies or the Pachua, westerlies wind. Now westerlies are driving the cold water which is going to encircle the entire globe roughly around 50, 45, 50, 65 degree southern latitudes. Because here the continental masses are absent and the winds are uninterrupted, unobstructed, and the westerlies are called roaring 40s, shrieking 60s, furious 50s. We have discussed all these. So the currents which are produced by the global current, which is produced by the westerlies, will be called the west wind drift. Drift meaning the volume is more, the velocity is less, because it is an open ocean, so the enormous mass of water is moving from west to east. Now this is also called Circumantarctica current. This is also called Circumantarctica current, or you call it west wind drift. This encircles the whole globe. Okay, it encircles the entire globe. The only current which encircles the globe is west wind drift. Okay, now this west wind drift, think of the Coriolis again, and as the Coriolis operates, this is how the tendency of the current will be. The leftward deflection, and the west wind drift will finally hit. It also hits the Cape of Good Hope. This is Cape of Good Hope, Vasco da Gama, if you remember. So this is Cape of Good Hope. G should be in capital, whatever. Now as it hits the Cape of Good Hope, the cold water returns back. It returns back and it joins the south equatorial current. Now this current, the returning current or the diversion of the west wind drift, will be named as Benguela current. Benguela current, which is a cold current. Benguela is a place in Angola here. This is your Benguela. It is a meteorological station also, Benguela. So the returning current, which is diversion of the west wind drift, which is a cold current, is Benguela current. Now this Benguela current enters the South Atlantic equatorial current, thus completing the circulation. This is how the circulation is completed, and this is how a gyre or a gyre or a gyre is created in this region. Here also there is a gyre being created. Now this gyre is what? Clockwise or anti-clockwise? This is clockwise and this is anti-clockwise. This is clockwise and this is anti-clockwise. Now this gives you the complete picture of all the ocean currents, major or minor, for the Atlantic Ocean. Draw your diagrams. Just go through the entire concepts. And let me know if there are any questions. This is your cold upwelling zones. These are also the cold upwelling zones. These pockets will have cold upwelling zones. यहाँ भी होगा cold upwelling zones. यहाँ भी होगा. This entire area is having cold upwelling. Okay. Now we can do a revision of the entire current system, and we can derive certain laws about currents after going through the entire pattern of ocean current found in the Atlantic Ocean. So, starting from the beginning, we have north equatorial, south equatorial, counter equatorial. Okay, this is counter equatorial, and here we have Guinea current, which is part of compensation, which flows for the sake of compensation. This is a warm current. It enters or superimposes the south equatorial current. Okay, so this Guinea current will also be part of equatorial current. Fine. Now the north equatorial current here. This is the north equatorial current. It is bifurcated by West Indian Islands, and we have the Antilles and we have the Cairns here. The two will join at Cape Kennedy until Cape Hatteras. It is called. This is called the Florida current. These are Florida current. And then we have the Gulf Stream here. This is your Gulf Stream. Now Gulf Stream have many branches, and it has many bifurcations, trifurcations you can call it. It has kind of sheet flows. The Gulf Stream have layered flow structure, and it forms eddies. If we go for the deeper study of Gulf Stream has the highest velocity among all the currents, because the pressure gradient force is maximum along this region, along 50 degree to 45 degree. The pressure gradient in the ocean is maximum, because here you have the warm water and here we have the cold water meeting in this zone. So the gradient will be much more. So always, as a rule, along the eastern side of the continental margins, near mid latitudes, the currents will always gain the maximum momentum, the maximum velocity. Okay. So Gulf Stream gains the maximum velocity, and Gulf Streams are actually moving in this direction. So this is how they are. I mean, this is one branch second. Then because of Coriolis and Ekman's law, this is how the Gulf Stream is divided into sheet flows. This is your Gulf Stream. This is the Gulf Stream. And these are the sheets flow. This is the sheet flow. These are sheet flow. And these sheet flows are called laminar flows. This is called laminar flows. Okay, so remember that the Gulf Stream have this tendency to form laminar flows. If you have physics background, then you'll so easily grasp what is laminar. And simply stated, for a geographer, laminars are the flow of water in different sheets due to the differences in density and other such physical properties. And now, all these laminar flows, laminar sheets they begin to form some eddies. These are how the eddies are formed also. The eddies are formed. So this is the flow pattern of your Gulf Stream. So if there is any question asked on Gulf Stream, you can talk about its very high velocity. You can talk about the highest pressure gradient force which is found between the cold polar water and the warm tropical water along that 50-degree line where the heat exchange or the latitudinal heat exchange is taking place in the ocean. And the Gulf Streams, then you can talk about the Ekman's spiral law and the sheet flow and the laminar flows. So this is your Gulf Stream. Now Gulf Stream, another discussion point I would like to take. If this is the Gulf Stream, moving, then we have the cold currents coming from this direction. The cold currents coming from this direction. And when these currents are coming, I mean, they all form this kind of circular. This is your Gulf Stream. And this is your Labrador. And the East Greenland or West Greenland, or we can simply write West Greenland and East Greenland currents. So you have such formations, such circulation. This is the mixing of the Gulf Stream with the Greenland current, and this is with Labrador. This is with Labrador current. Now, such flows, such circulatory mixing or three-dimensional mixing of the cold and warm currents will be called Langmuir circulation. Langmuir circulation, because Langmuir, as a scientist, he discovered the eddy formations and the circulatory pattern or the formation of these hurls here. These hurls are the larger eddies. This is the flow pattern of your Labrador. This is the mixing pattern of your Labrador with Gulf Stream, and this is going to be the fishing belt. This is a fishing belt. This also may have the fishing belt. No. This part is not the fishing belt. This part will finally form the Sargasso Sea. This will form the Sargasso Sea. Okay. This is the returning water of Gulf Stream, which actually forms the Sargasso Sea. Never try to question these authoritative statements, because I owe these statements from some of the great works and the research works which I have so laboriously memorized and understood. So this is your Langmuir circulation, तो याद रखना है तुमको. This must be coming in the examination. Sargasso Sea has already been asked, and this eddy formation. This was your eddy formation, the laminar flows of the Gulf Stream. Okay, the sheet flow, laminar flow. Then I talked about the Gulf Stream, and this was your Langmuir circulation. So remember all these. And now going into this diagram again. So as we reach this diagram, so we have this Gulf Stream here, and Gulf Stream meeting with Labrador. Now I must explain here why fishing belts will be produced. So let's go to the fishing belt phenomena. When the cold current and warm current are meeting, so say when the cold current and the warm current are meeting, warm current always will be on the surface and cold current will have tendency to move down. So this is the cold current and this is the warm current, or maybe this is the Gulf Stream. This is your Labrador with different design. Cold current is being shown with different designs. So, and this three-dimensional circulation is the Langmuir. This is the Langmuir circulation being formed. Now, as this circulation is being formed, this entire belt or this region, if you take the cross-section part of the ocean, then this entire belt will have fog. This will be, totally covered with fog. This fog is because of the mixing of the cold and the warm water, and this fog is called advectional fog. This is called advectional. This is called advectional fog. We have convection, vertical rising air, and we have advection, horizontal mixing of air. So this is horizontal mixing of air. So when the Gulf Stream is mixing with Labrador, we will have advectional fog. Fog is what? Fog will be a kind of low stratus cloud. Low stratus cloud. Fog एक low stratus cloud होता है. Okay? So we have this fog. Now what does fog do? They filter the insolation. They filter the insolation, especially the microwave and the radio waves, which can burn these two rays can burn the diatoms, which are phytoplanktons. So diatoms cannot survive when the sun rays are penetrating directly into the seawater, and diatoms are the green particles or the phytoplanktons, and they form the green pastures for the fishes. So if the fog is formed, the diatoms will survive in this region, and diatoms will multiply, and diatoms are the green pasture. So all the swarms of fishes will be attracted from the surrounding area. Even the cold water fishes, even the warm water fishes, both will be attracted into this region. And because of their interbreeding, you can have a variety of fishes there, and you can have a number of, such fishes which can survive both in cold and slightly warm water. Okay. So this region will have abundance of fish and they become the fishing ground. So fishing ground is primarily because of this fog. So remember this fog. Now from the fog I remember a particular phenomena which is along the American coast, this part near Cape Hatteras, this is Florida. So this part of America, roughly you can call it the mid-Atlantic coast or the mid-Atlantic seaboard. So along the mid-Atlantic seaboard, this is your Florida. This is Florida. This is a mid-Atlantic seaboard, and this is your Gulf Stream. Gulf Stream, and this part is having cold water. This part is having cold water, and Gulf Stream is having warm water. This is warm water. So along the coast, because of the cold water is moving, so this part will develop fog again. Other than the fishing belt, this was the fishing belt where we talked about the fog and the diatom and the multiplication of the fishes, but roughly south of 50 degree north. And so between 30 to 50 degree, you have another phenomena when you have fog along the coast of mid-Atlantic, North American mid-Atlantic coast or mid-Atlantic seaboard region. And this fog is called cold wall. This is called cold wall phenomena, which is different from the fog of the Labrador and mixing area of Gulf Stream. Cold wall is much south than the fishing belt. The Newfoundland area se niche hai ye. So this is called cold wall phenomena, and this is very hazardous to navigation. This is hazardous to navigation. ये hazardous है navigation के लिए. So remember the cold wall phenomena, remember the causes of fishing belt and how the Langmuir circulation is produced, or how the laminar flows are produced, how the eddies are formed in Gulf Stream. So I am giving you the greater details because I really fear that UPSC has gone miles ahead of some of the traditional coaching classes. Okay, so what now? I mean, coming back to this diagram again. So here we have the cold wall phenomena. यहाँ पर देखो ये cold wall phenomena है. This part is cold wall phenomena. This is the fishing belt. This is the Gulf Stream, North Atlantic Drift, trifurcated. And all where you have North Atlantic Drift, there will be some fishing. सब जगह fishing हो रहा है. Fishing belts. Now, there is another discussion point coming up after the 30 seconds break, or I'm giving you opportunity to draw these diagrams. Draw this diagram also, then draw this diagram also. First do this. This is cold wall phenomena, and this is your Langmuir circulation. Langmuir circulation and the fishing belt. ये advectional fog लिखा है. Then ये था laminar flows and eddies formation. These are eddies. Eddies formation. Eddies formation है. And then that's it. And now impact on coastal climate. impact on coastal climate, how the currents will influence the coastal climate. अच्छा, मुझे कुछ SMS लिखो whether you are able to appreciate or grasp anything or not. Langmuir circulation, laminar flows, Gulf stream, fishing belt, cold wall phenomena, Guinea warm current, undercurrent, Cromwell and Lemonose current. We have done so much today. And since I am running out of time, I don't think I will be able to explain the role of currents on coastal climate in the dying 5-6 minutes of the class. So it is better I postpone for the next class. Give me your valuable suggestions. जैसा आपको ठीक लगे, क्योंकि नहीं, पहले बताओ कि जो कॉन्सेप्ट्स हमने डिस्कस किए, बहुत सारे कॉन्सेप्ट्स थे आज, वो आप लोगों के समझ में आया या नहीं? I will request you to watch this video, today's class, at least once or twice for the better understanding. Okay, Ayushi. Chalo. Bye bye. Take care. Next class will be on Monday. Next class will be on Monday. Saturday and Sunday will be off for you. सिंह साहब लिख रहे हैं ठीक है, ओके. Chalo, bye bye, take care. It's always very rejuvenating and very revigorating for me to be with you, to be with my English medium batch. Intellectually very satisfied. There is no Saturday class. Saturday, Sunday mostly off, or you will have a test, or maybe we can have test discussions, but not the class, because the UPSC. Chalo, bye bye, take care. Bye. Thank you.